It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video.
It's Movie Time is produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to broadcast shows Fridays at 4:01 and 8:01 p.m.
Right.
Read reviews and listen to shows online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
I'm Audrey Harkinen.
and this is It's Movie Time. All right, Audrey, after we get through all this stuff about the Oscars, and Amelia Perez is gone because of what she has posted,
Yes.
there apparently is some flack about Brutalist as well, that they used AI to augment the speech patterns. And that's
Yes.
apparently, but nobody's going to see Brutalist anyway. You know, they
Right.
3 hours, 3.5 hours and an intermission. I don't think it's got it. So I'm betting that Conclave actually
Okay.
slips in.
You think so?
I think it might. I mean, it's just at the middle of the road.
Okay.
But my fave, Audrey, many of the people in our audience don't know about either.
Yeah.
It's called I'm Still Here. Set it up.
Amazing. I'll set it starting with amazing. This is, first of all, set in 1970. It begins in 1970. It's in Rio de Janeiro. It's on the Ipanema.
Right.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No.
Ipanema Beach. And it is, well, there's two themes going on here, really, I think. The first is the effects of dictators and dictatorial governments on the lives of ordinary people.
Well, how timely.
Quite. But secondarily, this is a mommy dearest type of theme as well. But not in the sarcastic Joan Crawford kind of mommy. It's dearest mommy.
Yeah.
It truly is. This is a mother who keeps her family together against unknown forces and against incredible odds.
This is a real story.
Yep.
Her husband, who is Rubens Paiva,
Paiva.
was a congressman in Brazil. And now we have a dictatorship, and it's on for several years, which is clamping down on people even who formerly were, because they're looking for what they would call terrorists, what we would call insurrectionists.
Yes.
And it affects his family, and it's powerful. And I'm being snarky, of course, when I say how timely, but when you do feel that there are certain elements of your own world that are closing in on you, you can't help but think, here she is, the mother, has got to pull this family together.
Right. She is on her own because of kidnapping or / detention of her husband pulled out of the family. But what I found so interesting and well done is our director Walter Salaz.
I should have gone to YouTube and
So he gives us a foreshadowing of this whole story
nice.
in one little scene.
I know what you're talking about.
It is so perfect. It's a bunch of kids in the car. They're cruising around a neighborhood. The windows are down. The music is blasting. They're smoking cigarettes and pot. And one of the girls has a little camera, and she's filming her friends in the car. And they're looking outside. And there's just this joyful innocence of the early 70s. I can relate to this, my friends. We all cruised around in cars. And then they hit this roadblock, the barricade, and people are being jerked out of their cars and thrown up against the walls and searched and questioned out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect scene to illustrate what's to come.
Yeah, right. I mean, nobody could survive the junta at that time.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, Audie, I have an image even before yours.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not as comprehensive as yours is, but it's when Fernanda, who is the mom,
Mm-hmm.
she's swimming,
And looks up and
opening
sees,
shot.
sees the helicopter.
Barely, it's about a split second of a helicopter going over.
Yeah.
Well, what a great presaging of the military. And
Yeah.
then we have several shots of military convoys,
Right.
which are dark and menacing.
Yes, yes.
And actually, one of the things that strikes me too about this is that even though Dad is taken away, and we never see him again, I mean, this is historical, so we're not
Right,
giving
right.
anything away. He just never comes back. And the feds, the government will not admit that it has taken him.
Right.
And so this is one of the things that she has to go through. She can't even get to his bank account.
Yes,
So here is a challenge for a woman.
correct.
And-
In 1970,
In
yeah.
1970.
Mhm.
And she rises to the challenge, as the kids do. I think they're great actors.
Yes, every single one of them is superb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Audrey, here's what we do. Audrey and I are sitting there, and at the end we ask each other questions about what happened. One of the things I was certain was that Fernanda Torres, who is our lead
Yes.
lady, that was not she at the end.
that was not, and I discovered that as well.
It was her mom.
It was her mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fernanda Montenegro, I think,
Right.
or something like that,
Yes.
who was in sales a previous film of his.
Uh-huh.
So that she was popular with him, and both Audrey and I thought they had just made her up fantastically
Yeah.
because there was a resemblance.
There was such a resemblance, yes, yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Audrey, one of the things that really impresses me about this is that we don't get a lot of blood and guts in this.
No, no, and that is also what makes it so disturbing is the fact the tone is so quiet and paced
Yeah.
and deliberate, and it is determined, and it is, that is Eunice, that is the mom.
Yes.
And you think it's slow, but it's not, it's deep. And it just moves forward. No, there's not a lot of blood and guts. The only time that you really hear some of what would be violence is when she's incarcerated, and there's some yelling and there's some crying and etc. from other jail cells. But other than that, no, it's not straightforward. It's very soft.
I figured that she was held for 12 days, and she was interrogated,
Yes.
and she was regularly shown photographs.
The
of-
change, did you notice that?
No, what?
They switched up some of the
Oh, they did.
photographs of people that she absolutely knew that she had to admit that she
And I
did.
think her husband's photo was in that.
I think he was,
Yeah,
yeah.
So, and as you were talking there, you're reminding me, there was one, like that helicopter image, just so brief, when the sympathetic guard takes her down the hall.
Yes.
And they're going through the hall.
Yes.
And as you said, you hear all kinds of
Right.
sad noises. They pass a room in which a woman's being waterboarded.
Yes,
Ouch.
yes.
My gosh. Now, so this is kind of epic in its own way, don't you think? I mean, there's so much of the family in that.
Yes.
And you know, what does it say about her as a survivor, as Eunice, the mom? And what do we get to know? And I always am asking about the arc of a character.
Yeah.
Do we have it here?
I think what I find interesting about her is she suppresses her slow but astonishing discovery that
Right.
her husband has been a part of these quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here, the terrorists, and he's passing information back and forth. She was not aware of that. She does not seem to harbor any anger or any frustration with it. She just carries on, keeps the family, and tries to find him, and tries to get information about him and keep her family safe.
Very good.
Yeah.
It reminds me that one of my favorite home invasion movies is Straw Dogs.
Yeah.
And this is a home invasion.
Basically, yes. Yes.
You have a couple of thugs, or three of them maybe,
Yeah.
who are military thugs,
Yeah.
but they're
Plain clothes,
pretty blind.
but with weapons, and they just
They walk
Take 'em
into
away.
your home.
Yeah.
So if it
Knock
doesn't,
on the door, yes, that knock
it
on the
doesn't
door.
give you the heebie-jeebies, and when you see how cool these guys are,
Yeah,
but she's just as cool.
she commands every room she walks in, every conversation she has, with just just the look on her face, and how just so in control she is.
And I like it that she offers them food.
Yes, yes, she's
As
like
if they
their
were
guest.
You
Yes.
know, all right, Audrey, we have more to talk about in our podcast, which is Back Talk. You have to go to WCBE.org on the podcast experience, Back Talk, to hear it. But what would you advise about this film? Now, here we are, but a lot of people hoping for Oscars and so on. But what do you advise about this film?
I think, and we've talked about this before, international films and foreign films are a challenge for me. Trying to read and look at the subtitles
Yes.
and watch the film. This is worth the work because the dialogue is minimal.
Yeah,
it is.
It's very.
It is mostly. The scenes are set up such that there's minimal dialogue and you're watching her. You
Yeah,
can't take your
for
eyes
people
off
who are
her.
worried about the subtitles.
Right.
You just don't have to worry about it here because it is, as you said, it is this slow pace. And after, when we do our podcast, I'm going to tell you about another one recently that has a similar experience for me on the dialogue.
Okay.
It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island.